Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Rob Vino and Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com, talking some Sunday NFL action here. Robbie, coming to you first, 4:25 Eastern, the kickoff in the desert. Arizona Cardinals hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. We're seeing Eagles minus 5.5, taking a little bit of money up from the opener of 4 here. 49 being the total. Are you liking anything Eagles and Cardinals on Sunday, Rob?
Well, I can tell you, just because I'm right in the area, that they're liking their Eagles right now here in Philadelphia. It's been a pretty good 4-game stretch for the Birds. However, Drew, right off the bat, what I notice about this game is the difference in strength of schedule is pretty glaring. Arizona's played a better schedule. Arizona's played the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Rams, and then Carolina. We won't give them too much credit, but that's opposed to what Philadelphia's played in Detroit, Minnesota, Washington, and Jacksonville. And legitimately, there's not a good team among the bunch right now in that pile. So I think that maybe Philly gets to be a little bit overrated here. However, their play on the field has been real good. The matchup doesn't bode well for the Cardinals, though, in my estimation at least. Their defensive weaknesses figure to be exploited here by the Eagles. Arizona has 0 pass rush. They got 7 sacks and 177 pass attempts against them. That's 1 every 25. And, if you're only going to get Jalen Hurts once every 25 times, that's not good enough. And their pass defense is just not good. 256 yards a game allowed through the air. Philadelphia happens to have right now, by some metrics, the number 1 ranked offensive line in the NFL. And that's going to be a big deal here. What they did to Jacksonville on Sunday in the rain with a backup offensive lineman stuffed in there was pretty impressive. I only bring that up because using the same metrics, the Kansas City Chiefs have the 2nd best rated offensive line. Arizona's played Kansas City. What happened in that game? Kansas City gained 488 total yards, 7.5 a play, 76% pass completions, 360 pass yards. Arizona got 0 sacks. That was the number 2 offensive line. This is the number 1. You would think that those numbers could be at least closely simulated here by the Birds. Other thing I'd say that doesn't bode well for Arizona is that if you can't run on Philadelphia, you probably can't beat them. The only team that was able to run so far against the Eagles was Detroit, and they did a good job of it back in week 1. Their offensive line pushed Philadelphia backward. They ran for 181 yards, 6.5 a carry. But since then, the other 3 teams, Minnesota, Washington, and Jacksonville, they've run for 62, 87, and 71. If you do that, you're not going to beat the Eagles. You have to be able to run. Those 3 teams lost by 17, 16, and 8. Just to back up my point here. The Cards are doing better on the ground, 112 yards a game, 4.0 average. A lot of that has to do with Kyler Murray, though. If you take Kyler Murray out of the equation, it's not as good as those numbers would indicate. Philadelphia, however, they're going to face their first mobile quarterback. I mean, they've been presented statues like Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, but pass rushes look good. Kyler's a different story here. Trevor Lawrence was a different story last week, but that game was played in a driving rain for the most part. I would say this. I don't think that Arizona can pass protect well enough if Jonathan Gannon decides to blitz a little bit for the Eagles. But I do think that with Rondale Moore back, and I saw it a little bit last week, as miserable as it is to watch the Cardinals play, I think I saw it a little bit last week with Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore posing deep, explosive threats, 2 of them, just like the Eagles have. I'm in agreement with point production in this game. The bettors have moved this from 48.5 to 49. I don't think Arizona is going to stop Philadelphia at all in this game, much like what KC did to them. But I do think that Arizona's got some capability here with Murray in motion and with those 2 deep threats and enough of a running game to get their points as well. So I think up to 51, you're safe. If it gets that high, I'd get off. And I'm going to say this about this line, guys. Philadelphia, 5.5. you might be paying a premium. For me to get to 5.5, and guys, I have this game line Philadelphia -1.5. For me to get the 5.5, I would have to push Philadelphia's power rating up and above the Kansas City Chiefs. That's where odds makers have them right now. I don't know that Philly's better than the Chiefs, so there may be value in this home dog here. It looks like a decent underdog shot here at home with Arizona plus points.
Good stuff, Robbie. I mean, Tony, coming to you next. I thought Rob made a great point. I was looking for reasons to like the underdog here in terms of the profile of quarterback that the Eagles have faced. Nothing like Kyler Murray. I mean, even Trevor Lawrence, if you're trying to say, hey, a little bit of mobility, that was, kind of a weather-induced game. So that could be something pointing towards the underdog. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm wanting to step in front of this Eagles team. What do you like in Arizona and Philadelphia, Tony?
Well, Rob mentioned the spread value, perception wise. I think perceptually, I think this number is probably correct. I think the odds maker. I don't think you're going to see it move a bunch. If you do, you're going to see it move against the Cardinals, or at least on the Eagles rather. 4-0 Eagles, lone unbeaten team in the NFC. Jalen Hurts right now would have to be if you had to vote today. The season was over. I think he's your MVP. 8 touchdowns, right? And there's a lot of things. Listen, there's a lot of things I look for in the NFL that aren't statistically supported, and one of those is posture, how a team, plays, and then how they respond to big plays. Do they have the Marcus Allen mentality, act like you've been there before? There's something different about this Eagles team than Eagles teams in the past. And I've not been a big supporter of Jalen Hurts. I don't believe he's the kind of guy that's going to be able to run like Murray and pass like Mahomes or Allen. And I think someone will say, well, what do you expect? That's a ridiculous combination, right? Well, as Rob said, if you ask some gentlemen in Philly, they'll tell you that he is Jalen Hurts, and put him between sliced bread, and you're going to make $1 million, right? This Cardinals team, you can't back them. I can't back them right now. I mean, if you want to go by trends and you're a trend guy, then look at what they're a team that you have to play on the road, not at home. I mean, this is a team that's covered 10 of 11 of the last 11 regular season games outside of Phoenix, Glendale. I think they're 0-7 against the number straight up and against the number the last 7 home games. And this Eagles team's got a lot of confidence. It's going to take a lot to shake them and break them. And I think you saw it last week, guys. I think you saw it last week. Teams 3, they're playing like they are, and all of a sudden the doormat of the AFC South comes into your building, and you fall behind them 14-0. You never saw this Eagles team panic one bit. In fact, if you look at the stat sheets and look at the drive charts, you're going to find that they didn't panic. They ran the football. They ran the football against a team that had stopped the run. Now, you need to look at stats a little deeper than that. You'll see who the Jacksonville played in week 1 and week 2. But for my money, and my money isn't on this game. I'm not in this room yet. It's a little early in the week. There's some things I still have to sort out, but I certainly like what they've done with Jalen Hurts. I certainly like the way he's being tutored by Brian Johnson, who is kind of like, is a bigger, taller, a little more of a dual threat quarterback in college, if you remember Brian Johnson. And I think he's done a great job. I really do. Whereas I don't think they've done a good job with Kyler Murray. If you look at who the coordinators are and who's handling Murray, I think you'll find it confusing at best. Give me the Eagles, and I'll lay up to 5 on this game. I may not like it, but I probably would.
Tony Finn, you heard from Robbie Vino as well. Check them both out, WagerTalk.com. Guys, we're also talking about the line move here on the Eagles up to 5.5. Best place to check that out, the free live odds screen, WagerTalk. See it right there. Just go up to the live odds tab. Check it out, guys, the free live odds tab. NFL, college football, MLB playoffs, it's all there. Check it out, WagerTalk.com.